Yeah, one of those.
We had a candidate.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started because we have a dedication before we start the Seder. So, I think I have a lovely opportunity. Obviously, we all know we're here for a lovely Seder. Tonight, we brought a new person on board. This is Arena Moon. She's very close to graduating as a rabbi within a few weeks. She is now going to become our, I believe we're almost hand in hand in having a finalized contract. She will be the new rabbi of Mount Sinai Synagogue. Tonight, even though she flew in from Los Angeles, she's going to be doing the Seder. We have to give her a break. This is probably the biggest Seder crowd she's done yet. She's a lovely lady. Also, this is Shira Michaels. Shira Michaels has been guiding our synagogue now for almost 5 to 6 years. She was always worked with Uri Neal. Uri Neal had a medical misfortune, and she stepped in as the interim. I'm very proud that I boast being the only synagogue that has 2 rabbinesses, or students to be, the 2 women of our spiritual leaders. We are very fortunate tonight that I'm going to turn this over to Arena to do a little speech, and as you see up there, she'll tell you a little bit more, and then I'll finalize about this lovely window that we're going to be dedicating.
I'm honored today to be present at the dedication of the first window in the Women of the Bible Window Project. The windows not only enhance the beauty of our social hall, but they teach us about our forefathers. Their symbolism provides us with important life lessons. The first window in the series is a representation of the first woman, Eve. The name Eve in Hebrew is Chava, meaning life, or living, because she was the mother of all that is living. She is the beginning because she was made as the beginning, but she is also the beginning because she chose to be. She was the one who set the action in motion by taking the fruit. In so doing, she brought knowledge into the world. She is the ancestor of our free will and our own creative urge, the one who chose wisdom and mortality. While we usually associate Eve with an apple, in this window, which we are about to see, she is depicted as carrying a bowl of different fruits. These round fruits are associated with the feminine and represent a circle, a cycle of life based on connections. In Genesis 4, verse 1, Eve says, Kaniti ish et Hashem. I have created a man with God. She has a sense of her partnership with God, sharing in God's creative powers. To create is to assert that the world is not yet finished, that we must participate in its completion. May this lovely window that now graces our social hall remind us of our connection with one another, the power inherent in each of us to create, and of the fruitfulness of our labors. May we be blessed to be like Eve and continue the work of creation. Amen.
One thing before I introduce the lovely Roz Baker, to give everybody a little origin of the windows. In the early 1950s, the synagogue has lots of heritage. It started around 1951, or around that time when it first opened. As time went on, families got together like in other congregations and churches, and they did a fundraiser which began in the main sanctuary of a beautiful stained glass window project. And all the families gave in, and I don't know if we have a chance later to look, but the windows go on both sides of these glass in the main sanctuary. Just recently, a very fond person of our synagogue, Paul Smith, as many of you might know, was the owner of the Hitching Post, due to an insurance trust, left a sizable donation to our synagogue. This donation was then turned into another beautiful stained glass window in Paul Smith's honor for his love of the community, and it showed Moses going up Mount Sinai. Thanks to Rosalind Baker, who was instrumental in working with the Watkins family, we continue now to then present to the next generation of people, as you heard from Marina, the windows of the women of the Bible. And I now, with a lot of pride, would like to turn over this to Rosalind Baker.
In addition to all the beauty that these windows will bring to our synagogue, we have 6 of these 11 already committed to families within our congregation. In the small chapel, we have the Tree of Life. One window in that grouping of 8 is committed to honor Uri Neal. And from a financial aspect, Mount Sinai Synagogue will realize for the endowment in excess of $100,000 when these windows are all sold, profit. With that nice note, I'd like to invite Jason, Dr. Jason Bloomberg, to please join me. We've worked together on a very special project for tonight.
Well, thank you. My wife and I are the sponsors of the first window in this series. And this is a surprise to her because while we had discussed it a little bit in the past, I don't think she realized that we were going to go forward with it, but we did. And she has been a person who has been instrumental in helping this synagogue grow since we arrived in Cheyenne. And while we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, the continuation of this institution depends on those who come after the institution's pioneers. Depends on those who are willing to take up the mantle, to make the commitments in time and material and finances to assure that there's something here for the generations that come after us. And this window is in dedication to my wife, Phyllis Bloomberg, president of the Mount Sinai Sisterhood.
Phyllis knew nothing about this.
No. We did talk about sponsoring a window once.
I think Phyllis.
I think Phyllis should.
Come on, you and Jason.
This was dedicated
Come
to you,
on.
dear.
It's been done so that you won't destroy it.
We hope.
Safety measures.
3, 1, 2, 3. The Medicis had a chance to influence the art they sponsor, and I exercise that prerogative. Eve is not depicted as a Aryan blonde, but rather as a Mediterranean Jewish woman with hazel eyes just like my beloved.
Awesome.
wife and would like to give us a brief update on Urie's condition before we go into the Seder.
Last year, about a week after we had our Community Seder, as most of you know, Uri Neal had a catastrophic stroke. And with the benefit of medicine and many prayers, he's been recovering slowly. I talked with Chris today, and Uri actually had got to the point where he was getting up and walking. He had been left paralyzed essentially on one side, and so this was a great improvement. But winter has been hard for him, and he's had a series of viral illnesses, and he is just getting to the point where he is recovering from them. Chris would like to invite people to contact her to set up visiting Uri, because he does benefit from visits. She asked me to reinforce the message that if anybody has a visit planned, Uri is very susceptible to illness. And so if someone feels like, well, maybe my throat's a little scratchy or I got this runny nose, for you it may not be a big deal. For him, it can represent weeks of a setback. So if somebody is absolutely certain they are healthy and they want to see Uri and extend their blessings, contact Chris and arrange it with her. And she appreciates and he appreciates all the love and prayers that have come from this community. And her wish to all of you here tonight, all of us tonight, is to have a wonderful Seder. They are having a Seder at their home tonight as well.
Great. Thanks, Jason. One last thing of giving thanks, and then we'll get on with the ceremony. We had a hot water heater installed in the synagogue, and it's thanks again to Jason and Phyllis, and also to Georgia and to Lester, and to all the people that worked on it, and it really makes us a more eco-friendly synagogue, and the hot water's there when you need it. So I just wanted to give thanks for that, and thanks for the people that put that together. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start our Seder. I believe Arena will move from the front, and we'll go through the procedures. She'll explain about the Seder. We get to it, we'll be doing numerous blessings, the story of Passover, and then we're lucky to have a delightful meal tonight. After, we'll finish with some song, and try to get those kids home for school in time, so it's not too late. And we are so thankful. Without a lot of people, this wouldn't be a special evening. We're very thankful for every single one.
I'd like to begin by saying Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach in Hebrew means happy festival. And Passover is one of the three major festivals of the Jewish year. And tonight we get to all celebrate by having a service which includes a meal in the middle of it. A couple of instructions that I would like to give you to help make this a smooth event tonight. On each table is a green piece of paper. What I would like for each table to do is to designate someone to be the table leader who will be responsible for following the instructions on the green sheet of paper. What this green piece of paper represents is the page number in the Haggadah. This is called the Haggadah, this book. We'll tell you the page number that we are on, and it will give you the cues for what the reader is then going to be saying. What I would like for us to do is to start at one table. The table leader will begin. When the first time we have a reader, the table leader will be the reader. The next time we have a reader, we'll pass that reading on to somebody else at the table. And then the third time we have a reader, it'll be the next person at the table. Until we go around one entire table, and then we'll move on to the next table. And we'll keep going that way so that everybody gets a chance to participate as a reader in this service. Is that clear? Does everybody understand the instructions? Okay. Does everybody have everything that they need on their table? Is anybody missing any books? Okay. Our Seder service begins on page 3. Long ago, at this season, a people, our people, set out on a journey. On such a night as this, Israel went forth from degradation to joy. We give thanks for the liberations of days gone by, and we pray for all who are still bound. Eternal God, may all who hunger come to rejoice in a new Passover. Let all the human family sit at your table, drink the wine of deliverance, and eat the bread of freedom. Freedom from bondage.
And freedom from oppression.
Freedom from hunger.
And freedom from loss.
Freedom from hatred.
And freedom from fear.
Freedom to think.
And freedom to see.
Freedom to teach.
And freedom to learn.
Freedom to love.
And freedom to share.
Freedom to hope.
And freedom to rejoice.
Soon in our days.
Amen.
One of the ways that Jewish people tell time is through music. I don't know how many of you knew that, but there are certain modes or melodies that are associated with different parts of the Jewish calendar. So there's a certain tunes that you will hear for Friday evening service, and a different set of tunes for Saturday morning service. And there's also a set of melodies that are associated with the festivals. And so tonight we're going to be using the melodies that are specifically associated with Passover. And you're going to hear it every time we have a blessing for the wine or for any of the things that we eat, such as the parsley or the matzah or the maror. And you'll also hear it in the Kiddush that I'm going to be singing. And since it repeats itself over and over and over again, you'll catch on to this and be able to join with me as we move through the Seder tonight. So I just wanted to explain that it's not the melody that you may be most familiar with. It is the special melody for Passover. We begin our service by kindling the lights for Passover. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. From bondage to freedom, from darkness to light. This has been the path of our life. For this we give thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner. We praise you, Eternal One, together. You call us to holiness and enjoin us to kindle the festival light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. praise you, Eternal One, for keeping us in life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season. By lighting these festival lights, we sanctify this festival and the season of our rejoicing by bringing in God's light into our holy community. Light is the great metaphor of the Spirit's quest and of its satisfaction, as it is said, "By your light we shall see light." We journey toward the land of promise, accompanied by the light of the Shekinah, the divine presence, our inner light. For all of us, and especially for the children, who will in their turn be keepers of the flame, we ask God's blessing. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Together, may God bless you and keep you. May God look kindly upon you and be gracious to you. May God reach out to you in tenderness and give you peace. The first part of our ritual is filling our cups with wine. So if we could all take a moment to make sure that we have some wine in our glasses. Grape juice works just fine. Does everyone have some wine or grape juice? Tonight we drink 4 cups of wine. There are many explanations for this custom. They represent, some have said, the 4 corners of the earth, for freedom must reign everywhere. The 4 seasons of the year, for freedom must be guarded at all times. The 4 empires that oppressed us in days of old, for tyranny must pass away, as did these empires, before all the world is free. Above all, they stand for the 4 promises of redemption recorded in the story of the liberation of our people from Egyptian bondage. I will bring you out, I will deliver you, I will redeem you, I will take you to be my people. We begin with the first reader, who starts with "We will drink 4 times." On page 6.
We will drink 4 times in this Seder, in remembrance of the 4 promises of liberation. The first represents our liberation from physical bondage. Until we get out of Egypt, we are not free. Only then can we rest on Shabbat, a reminder of the Exodus, and celebrate Pesach, festival of our liberation.
We raise our cups in remembrance of the beginning of our redemption, as it is said, "Ani Adonai, v'hotzeti etchem mitachat tivlot Mitzrayim." I am the Eternal One, and I will bring you out from under the Egyptian yoke. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei b'ri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher achapanu mikol ha'am, Shashon, Vekishanu b'mitzvotav, V'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava, Moedim lesimcha, Chagim u'zmanim lesason, Et yom chag hamatzot hazeh, Zman chirutenu, Mikra kodesh, Zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu b'achata, ve'otanu k'dosha, mikol ha'amim, u'moedei kodshecha, be'shimcha u'sason, inchatanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Yisrael, ve'ha'afanim. Together at the bottom of the page, Eternal God, you call us to your service and hallow us with your spoke. Your love, you have given us Sabbath and its rest, festive times and seasons and their joys. They are sacred meeting days, reminders of our liberation from Egyptian bondage. We praise you, Eternal One, for these days sacred to Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu, lazman hazeh. Together, we praise you, Eternal One, for keeping us in life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season. And now we all drink our first cup of wine or juice. We have our next reader. Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away. For now the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. The flowers appear on the earth, the time of singing has come. The song of the dove is heard in our land. The corn grows ripe. And now the next part of our ritual involves dipping green herbs in salt water. And I think tonight we have parsley on the plate, so if everybody can take a little piece of parsley. And we're going to be dipping it in salt water. The parsley represents the green of spring and of new life and new growth. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei b'ri ha'adamah. We praise you, Eternal One, Creator of the fruit of the earth. And now everyone can eat their parsley. The next part of our ritual involves the breaking of the matzah. And I would like to invite Raymond to come up here and help me break the matzah. Raymond, you're on. You come right over here. Come over here with me. Terrific. Okay. Now over here on this plate we have 3 matzahs stacked one on top of each other, and it's the same way on everybody's plate. Okay, and what we would like is for you to find the middle matzah, not the one on the top or the one on the bottom, but the one that's in the middle, and pick it up and show it to everybody. That one's on the bottom. Take that one's the middle one. Take it and show it to everybody. Very good. Okay, this is the middle matzah. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to break it in half. Can you break it in two pieces? If you break it, if you hold it the other way, hold it this way. Break it this way. Good, great. Very good. All right, show it up for everybody to see. Very good. Okay, now this larger part is going to become the afikomen, which is something that all the kids are going to search for a little bit later on. Okay? Thank you very much, Raven. You are a great helper. You did a great job. All right. So this matzah that Raven just wrote for us, let's read together. This is the bread of affliction our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Let all who are in need come share our Passover. This year here, next year in Israel. Today bound, tomorrow free. And we have our next reader.
As we eat the bread of affliction, we reflect that we are not alone in the Hebrew root that means affliction. We also find the word answers. The answer to our afflictions begins to come when we embrace others who are afflicted. Come share our Passover.
Thank you. And at this point, we are now going to refill our cups because we're going to have more ritual involving wine or grape juice. So put a little bit more in your glass. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, and we have our next reader on page 12. Rabban Gamliel used to say, if on Passover you do not explain these three things, you have not fulfilled your obligation. Pesach, the Paschal lamb, matzah, the unleavened bread, and maror, the bitter herbs. Our next reader.
Because the Holy One passed over the houses of our ancestors in Egypt, as it is said, it is the Passover offering of the Holy One who passed over the houses of the people of Israel, and Egypt was saved, and our houses were spared.
Okay, and our next reader will hold up the shank bone that's on the plate. Can everybody find the shank bone that's on their plate?
Nearly 2,000 years have passed since that time. But this night past and present birth, and we remember our beginnings. This bone helps us to recall the Paschal lamb our ancestors offered long ago.
Thank you. Our next symbol is the egg. So somebody can hold up the egg and explain what that is.
stood revealed before our ancestors to redeem them, even before their dough had time to ferment. As it is said, they baked the dough they had brought out of Egypt into unleavened cakes, for they were driven out of Egypt without being given time to prepare food.
Free Romans at their banquets would recline on couches, leaning to the left, to leave their right hands unencumbered, while slaves attended them. Now we reenact that scene without slaves to celebrate the fall of slave masters who thought their rule would last forever. So leaning is a way of rejoicing in liberation and a symbol of our hope that before long all the families, tribes, and peoples of the earth will eat and drink at freedom's banquet.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Together, we praise you, Eternal One, for the bread that comes from the earth. We praise you, Eternal One, for the mitzvah of eating unleavened bread. So now let's all lean to the left so that we can actually feel in our own bodies what it means to be a free people while we eat our matzah, recline, and relax. The next symbol in our Seder is maror. Why do we eat it? Our next reader will tell us why we eat maror.
Because the Egyptians embittered the lives of our ancestors in Egypt, as it is said, they made life bitter for them with hard labor at mortar and brick. With every kind of field work, they drove them in their work to utter wickedness.
Before eating the maror, we dip it in haroset. Haroset looks like the clay and straw with which our people were forced to make bricks for Pharaoh's building projects in Egypt. Its sweet taste softens, but does not remove the bitter memory of their slavery. Now, haroset, for those of you who are not familiar with it, it does sort of look like bricks and mortar, but usually it has apples and nuts and a little bit of wine, and sometimes people will put other fruits in it. It actually is very, very tasty. So take a piece of maror, which is your horseradish, and dip it in the haroset, and we say the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat maror. Together, we praise you, Eternal One, for the mitzvah of eating bitter herbs. So enjoy your bitter herbs, your maror.